So welcome everyone, I'm Bruno, and today I'm going to do the Talisman box over on HackSmarter.org. So let's get started with a simple Nmap scan to find out which ports are open on the server. So sudo nmap -p- to scan all ports, capital PN to avoid host discovery, -- open to give me only open ports and the IP of the server, which in my case is 10.1.222.181. Let's put the password and let me fast forward to the end of the scan because this could take a while. Okay, we have the results back. We have port 22 SSH open, and we have this port 8978 unknown service. So let's check additional information on those ports. So port 22 and port 8978, and we need the aggressive scan for those ports and the IP of the server. We have port 22 open SSH. I forgot to mention that this box has some credentials. We have here liquid credentials. We have Jane and this password. Great Talisman 1 exclamation. So copy. Since we have SSH open, let me open a new pane here and try to connect via SSH Jane at 10.1.222.181. I have the results already, but let me try this first. So yes. Asks for the password, so let's copy the password, paste the password. We paste it here to check if it's yes. So paste, enter, and it's not working. Okay, so let's close this, clear this one. So we have credentials, but they are not valid to use in SSH. So what else do we have here? Port 22, RSA, AD 25519, nothing important. On this port, we have HTTP request 200 OK. So this is a web application, and okay, so let's open a browser and check the application. So we have HTTP, the server is 10.1.222.181. Remember, your IP for the server will be different than mine. And the port 8978, and something is loading, so it's working, and we have Cloud Beaver community and an authentication. We need authentication. We could try this chain and the passwords. No, I have to copy the password again. And let's see. Yes, and we are logged in as Jane. This is Cloud Beaver Community Edition server. Open SQL Editor, and we have here a connection Oracle, and this must be an internal IP. Tools. Okay, so let's open the editor. I have to specify connection. So it's connecting to this Oracle instance on this internal server. And now we have here users of the database. And we are dev right now. Okay, so we have a list of users. Let's find out their privilege. So we can do select all from user siege privs. Let's execute this. Okay, and we have here, I don't know if I can increase this. Yes, I can. So we have here, for the user dev, we have these two privileges. Drop any directory and create any directory. So we don't have any execute or create procedure privilege. So I think we won't be able to create jobs or execute Java code. But we have these two privileges. And this one allow us to read files from the server. Okay, first let's understand what is this. This is a console where we can run PL SQL, that's procedural language extensions to SQL. So it adds loops, conditionals, variables to the SQL language. So SQL by itself is just a declarative language, meaning you say what data you want, not how to get it. So for instance, you can select password from the users table, something like that. That's a SQL statement. With PL SQL, you have programming language logic, like if, else, loops, variables, error handling, and so on. We also need to understand two other things. That's DDL, data definition language, and DML, data manipulation language. DDL is the category of SQL statements used to define, modify, or remove the structure of the database objects. So we are talking schemas, tables, indexes, directories, users, and so on. But that's the structure of the database objects as opposed of manipulating the data stored inside them. That's with data manipulation language. With DML, we are talking about keywords like select, insert, update, delete, merge. Those operate on the data inside tables, not the table structure itself. So why is this important? Let me show you. So to read files from the server, we need to do two things. First, we need to create a directory object that points to a folder on the server. So the main goal here is going to be to read the etc password file on the server. That's generally the POC to show that we can read files. So that's a file that is always there on a Linux server. So two things. First, create a directory object that points to a folder on the server. In this case, it will be the etc folder. And then we are going to read a file from the folder and display it. And the file will be the password file. So let's do that. Let's start by creating a code block. Let me delete this. and let's do it begin and end. And inside, first we have to create a directory object. How can we do this? Is just create directory, and now we need the name of the object. Let's call it Etsy as, and now the path to the folder on the server itself. So Etsy. So this here is going to create the Etsy object in Oracle, and it will point to this path on the server itself. So let's run it, and it won't even compile because PL SQL will throw this error here, and as far as the PL SQL compiler is concerned, create isn't a valid keyword to appear here. And why? Because this is a DDL statement. It means that an implicit commit will be done before and after execution. The compiler won't allow that. But Oracle has a specific mechanism to run this kind of statements dynamically. You just use this execute immediate. This is a function that's going to pass a string as an argument. So what we want to do is to put this command here and pass it as a string. So let's insert here quotes. And since we have already quotes inside the command, we have to escape it with other quotes. Okay. And now this function will pass this string. So this here won't be compiled. It's going to be a simple string, and it's going to be passed to the SQL engine that will run this at runtime. So it's a string for this compiler, but it will be a command at runtime for the SQL engine. And this is the way to create this directory folder on Oracle. So let me execute this. And now we have the status is executed. Now we have this object created. So now that we have the object, let's read the file. For that we can use this read to CLOB function. It's dbms XLS processor. And then the function is read to CLOB. This is going to read the file contents into a CLOB object. CLOB stands for character large object. And we need to pass to this function the directory object first. So and it has to be in uppercase, because Oracle will treat this or any object that we create, we will transform this into uppercase. So we have to put here in uppercase. Or we can do this and this. So it's the same. If we quote it, it will not transform it. But this is the way that Oracle works. So let's do it like this. And then we need to specify the name of the file that we want to read, and that's password. So like this. Okay, so this function here will use this directory object that is pointing to this folder on the server and read the contents of this file. So let's run it. And we have this error. So I must have made here a mistake. Of course. Okay. So this is going to read the contents of the file, but we need a way to display it. Oracle has a function to do that. That's the putLine function on the DBMS output. So let me do that. That's the DBMS output, and the function is putLine, and now we have to close. So we have this function putLine that is going to put the contents that we are going to pass as an argument. So we're going to pass this CLOB object, and it's going to display it in the output. And now we can run this. Okay, we have the same error again. So I must be doing something wrong here. So DBMS XLS. So I completely misspelled this. So now it should work. Okay, and now it's working. Okay, so name is already used by an existing object at line 2. So this line here. And of course, because we already created this directory object before. So either we run just this line, or we can say something like create or replace. And now it's going to replace this object if it already exists. So let's try it. And now it works. So to see the output, you have to click here on Show Server Output. And we have nothing. I think we have to run it again. Not sure. So let's do it. Output. And now we have it work. We have the contents of contents twice of the password file. Okay, so what do we have here? We have the root. Now I'm looking to users with login shell. So we have this one, root, login, and false login, and we have Oracle and superset. We have 3 users with login shell: root, Oracle, and superset. The home directories are home Oracle and home superset, and the root will be root. Okay, so what do we have so far? This box has SSH open and this port that allows to read files. But being that SSH is open, we can try to read SSH keys. So I'm not going to go to root because I'm almost certain, I'm guessing we are not going to have permissions to go to this directory. But we can try these two. Let's start with Oracle. So we have this here, copy, and let's go here, and let's try to, let's create another object. Let's use the same because it's replacing, so you only have to replace here the path. Let's paste this, oracle.ssh, and let's try to read the authorized keys. Let's see if it works. Run it. Output. It works. So we have authorized keys, and we have it here, this key. And this is an RSA key. Okay, so let's try to grab the default name for an RSA key. That's ID RSA. Let's try it. Output. And it works. So we have a private key. Let's copy this. Let's get back to the terminal, clear the screen, and let's put this into a file. Let's call it ID RSA. Insert and save and exit. And now we have this private key. Being a private key, we have to change the permissions for the file. So for the private key, it's going to be 600. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And now we can try to SSH with this key. With the user Oracle. And the IP of the server. So 10.1.2.2.181. Let's try it. And we are in. So who am I? Oracle. And we have the user flag here. So let me cat it and let me copy here command to redact part of the flag, but we have the flag. Okay, so for you, just use this one to show the complete flag. Okay, so now we have to enumerate this one, this user, and see what can we do with this user. First thing I like to do is, we don't have password for the user, but let me try anyway because sometimes it works. Oh, and it works. So this user, Oracle user, can execute with no password this script file. Okay, so let me show what's in this file, and we have permission denied. Okay, so let's see. Okay, it's owned by root. It's owned by root. And this maybe Oracle install? Let me see if our user Yes, our user belongs to this group also. But the thing here is just the user that is going to be able to read this specific file. Let me clear the screen and actually let me go back and copy this. And let's check what's in this directory. We have plenty of files here and folders. And they are all owned by Oracle, except this one. This is owned by root. Okay. Oh, but the folder itself here, it's owned by Oracle. So let me check this, clear. So present working directory. And -ld. And yeah, these, the permissions, we have permissions on this folder. So we don't have permissions on the file itself, but we have permissions on the folder, write permissions. So we can delete the file and create a new file with that name, and that should be okay. So let's do it, root.sh. So let's try to remove. Yes. So we did remove the file, and now we can create the file with the same name, but the script can be whatever we want. Okay, so let's do it. Let's echo, and let's create the bash script. Bash. And let's create the file root.sh. Now let's append the command that we want to execute. And that's going to be bash -b. And let's get root.sh, check. Okay, everything is good. So let's make it an executable file. And now we can run it because we can sudo -l. We can execute this file with sudo. Let's see, sudo. So if this works, we are going to execute this, our file, so this script file over here with elevated privilege. So let's run it. And here we have root. Who am I? I'm root. Okay, so cd root, and we should have here the root.txt. Okay, so let me cat root.txt and copy the command to mask the flag, and there we go, we have the flag, and that's it, that's the box. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye.